Hey, everybody. Yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, how's it going today?
Those eyes are very intense, Jason. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Good.
Looking back over 2022, it's been a good year. Has it been a good year for you, Jason?
Don't do this stuff. We just messed up the recording, so Chris is trying to have the same conversation with me. Chris, I'm now in my sixth year of
6 year.
2022, as I told you before the show, and the sixth
Yeah.
one is good as well.
Okay.
Chris, it is getting near the end of the year.
Mm,
There is a lot of talk about the looming recession, the
I think we're in it.
business businesses getting worried about advertising. I am not seeing that when it comes to Google Ads. I think that
Oh
is a
no.
sign of the strength of the platform. All I see is businesses continuing to run on Google Ads, new businesses continuing to come to Google Ads because
Hmm.
it works. Am I right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you. I definitely feel like the recession is there when I go buy milk, eggs, things like that. But as far as Google Ads, it is just as busy, just as important, just as valuable as it was, many years ago. So yeah, it's good stuff. I'm happy to be in such a well thriving industry, and happy to take the knowledge that I have accumulated after all these
Yeah.
years and give it away for the price of nothing.
Free.
Yeah,
Even with inflation, it's still free.
it's still free.
Still free. Chris, it is. It's just a different platform. It's a different kind of advertising. The other day I heard someone refer to conversion generation advertising as performance advertising as opposed to reach or awareness. And obviously there's a mix of different things you can do inside of the Google Ads platform, but the performance aspect is especially special, and I think something that really proves itself throughout economic times like
Yeah,
these.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, display is impressions and awareness and stuff like that, and that's exactly what you get. But when you performance, what do you get? You get the good stuff. You get what you want. So yeah, I like that description. Google Ads is performance marketing.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about a number of fundamental truths. We'll see how many we can get through, but a number of fundamental truths about Google Ads that will never, ever change, despite how many changes are going on. And if you can grasp these truths and not fight them, you give yourself good odds of having success on this platform. I would argue, Chris, if you don't accept these truths, um, it's always going to be an uphill battle for an advertiser if they don't accept these truths.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know all of the truths that you're going to drop, the truth bombs that you're going to drop today. I'm anxious to hear them. And before we do that, I want to remind our listeners about how this podcast is possible. If you enjoy this podcast for the price of inflation friendly $0, please visit our sponsor at optio.com/PSP. There's a link in the description, or you can just pull up a window while you're driving. Please grab your phone real quick, open up a browser, and opteo.com/PSP. Pull that up. You'll have the ability to bypass what all those other people get, which is a 30-day free trial. You now get a 60-day free trial. 8 weeks, 2 months for free of this amazing Google Ads only marketing software. This software can help you optimize and get more out of Google Ads by giving you amazing improvements that span from keywords to ads to bidding to locations to everything in the gambit of Google Ads is there. You will like this software. I guarantee it. And if you don't, you pay the same price that you're paying for this podcast, $0. Great deal. That's all we do here is give great deals. Optio.com/PSP.
Thanks, Chris. Chris, what's going on with time? Is time just moving really quick to you
You're getting
too?
older. You're getting older.
It
That's what,
happens.
yeah, you'll
Wow.
experience it. Yep. You look back, you're like, oh, that was a year. Oh, that was 3. Oh, I've been married for 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm noticing that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as we close out the year here.
It gets worse. It gets worse, and then your body starts to fail you,
Wow.
and then you start. Well, too late. I was gonna say losing your hair, but
Wow. Wow. Chris, I was going to ask you before the show or before the segment what you're looking forward to,
mm-hmm.
but we'll hold off on that until maybe next week.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Do you ever have wind where you are?
Oh yeah, I'm
Because
watching
those trees behind you, that painting you have
that painting.
covering up your solid wall, that never changes?
Yeah. No, it changes. Yeah.
Okay. It'll be fun when it snows or something.
Oh, hopefully not. You saw
Okay,
what
Chris.
happened when Texas
Yeah.
got snow. We almost all died.
Didn't
Didn't work
literally
out.
just snow too. Yeah.
Can't handle that.
Chris, fundamental truths you have to accept about Google Ads. You have to. The platform constantly changes, but what I've seen with a lot of advertisers over the many years I've been doing this now, there's certain aspects of Google Ads that if you don't accept them and you fight them,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never be able to have the success that you could have. Oh, I just saw a leaf fall down.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, that's not weird that happened for the first time right after I said that.
I didn't just create that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can still have success if you fight the truths, but it's always going to be an uphill battle, and that success is always at risk because it could go away at any time. Me talking like this kind of line of thinking that you have to accept things about Google Ads. A, do you agree with that line of thinking? And B, is there anything that comes top of mind to you about a fundamental truth?
I absolutely agree. And the first thing that comes to mind, and I mean, this is an age-old battle here on the podcast, is the fundamental truth about you can't fight what the system is built to do and what the system does. For example, the age-old battle, and what we often become famous for is just dumping on the skag community and talking about how bad skagging is, single keyword ad groups, and how bad of an idea that is. And the reason that we say that it is a bad idea is because it goes against so many truths in Google Ads that are now a forever truth. I mean, that wasn't true 10 years ago, but now 2022, we're living in a Google Ads algorithm setting, whatever, the truths determine that skagging is dead. So if you go against the truths in Google Ads, whatever 10, 8, whatever you're going to list, however many there are, that's the reasons why you have to decide, okay, this doesn't work. And then if you go against those, you hit failure. Things don't work right because you're trying to push back against the system. So I absolutely agree.
And it seems like the trends even get stronger over time. The truths build on themselves, and they become more cemented into the platform. It's interesting that your first thing that comes top of mind to you is skagging and the architecture of a campaign build of a search campaign. So I guess we can start there. We could give it a fundamental truth of Google Ads that that starting simple is the best way to do it. Do you have another way of phrasing it other than just, talking bad about skags?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not really a term we use very much, but a couple of years ago we coined the lazy man build. Starting with something where you assume you don't know the answers from the beginning, and your assumptions lead you to the point that you need to figure out what the right answers are. So you start quickly, you start simple, you start with a broader aspect, and then start to narrow as you learn the successes and failures based on the keywords and the settings and the ads that you have. So yeah, starting simple is absolutely critically important.
Yeah, I almost like the line of thinking of letting the platform guide you when you start a campaign.
Sure.
Starting very open, a lot of phrase match keywords, not that many ad groups, and seeing what comes in and seeing the kind of searches that are out there, and then building on top of that from there. So I think starting with a very simple ad group and keyword structure and a very open ad group and keyword structure is a fundamental truth that will never change, because if you do that, you can always improve based on the data that comes in and improve in the right way. But if you if you don't do that and you lock yourself in a corner, you won't really know what the opportunities are for your campaign on Google Ads, because you won't give it a chance to kind of show you everything it can do,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I agree. Totally agree.
Okay, so let's talk about the second truth of Google Ads that will never change. On it, and I'd be curious if there's pushback on this one. On a search campaign, you have to be at the top, and we'll define that, but you have to be at the top to get traffic, to then get conversions. So conversions come from clicks. Clicks, this is the key thing here, come from position 1, position 2, position 3, maybe position 4, primarily position 1 and 2. If you want traffic, you have to be at the top of Google Ads. That's where people look, that's where people click. Is there an argument to be had with that, or is that a truth that you can't get around?
The only thing I would push back on is calling it an absolute truth, because that would imply that there's no variation and that there's no wiggle room about it happening any other way. But the saying an absolute truth is a little bit too far, because the fact is you can get some clicks below organic where you're not in 1, 2, 3, or if there is a 4, if you're below organic at the bottom, you might get a 0.5 click-through rate. You might, in some industries, maybe a lot of traffic is a lot of research kind of traffic, and maybe you get like a 1 or a 2 click-through rate. That means you are getting traffic. But I think your point is not, hey, you're going to play around for a couple years in 5th and 6th position. No, you're talking about getting serious and actually like a business that needs leads in order to not starve and die. Yeah, I'd get behind that, because what company is going to hire us, you or I, and say, hey, try it out for 3 years, mess around in 5th position and see what we get. If you don't spend the budget, that's fine. No, nobody says that.
Right, especially once you get a taste of Google Ads working for you, where you put money in, you get clicks, you get leads. Those are worth more than the money you put in. My point is, you're only going to. My point is, it's just there's only a limited amount of space there where people look.
Yeah.
Like I think Bing and Google Ads is a perfect example of this. You're going to get more traffic if you advertise on Google Ads, like 99.99 times out of 100, because there's more eyeballs there. And then if you show up number 1, you're going to get more traffic than if you show up number 3, because there's more eyeballs and clicks there. But then taking it further, you're basically not going to get traffic if you don't show at some point in those top positions. Again, the only way I could see someone arguing this is if you run a national B2B campaign, very, very small budget, compared to the overall market, and there's a ton of volume, and you can get away with a super low click-through rate showing position 5 or 6. But my argument would be that's probably your average position. You're probably top percentage is probably like 20%, and that's where all your clicks come from. That's what I would argue.
Yeah. You might be getting 1,000 impressions below organic, and the 50 that show above organic, those are the ones that get 66, 60, 70% of the clicks that you're bringing in. So yeah, I think the truth still holds there.
And Chris, can you tell people
serious happens at the bottom?
Yeah, nothing serious at all. And tell people how they can kind of verify this in their own account with different segments.
Yeah, so there's a segmentation option in Google Ads. If you're viewing your campaigns, you can click the segment button and then click segment by top versus other. That's the little drop-down menu in that segmentation button. And when you do that, you can actually see how many impressions you're getting top, which means above organic, and how many impressions you're getting other, which means not top. It just means they're showing somewhere else. They're not above organic. So, and now I think it was wise of Google to call that other. They kind of foresaw what's happening, because I've seen instances of infinite scroll now, both on mobile,
on mobile,
and desktop. I've seen it in desktop before. So now the whole other thing is like, well, they showed, they were, 16 feet down once they scrolled, but yeah.
So the platform's always changing. That's something we'll talk about later. But one piece of good news here with the you basically can't get clicks and conversions if you don't show above organic at some point with some of your impressions. The good news is that I think they have done more in recent years to give everybody a bite at the apple, if you will, and kind of run that inventory where if you have 10 advertisers, they'll do their best to make sure all 10, if they're bidding somewhere in the range of acceptability, get a chance to win for everybody. So get a chance
Okay.
to get clicks, which is good for Google, get traffic, which is good for the advertiser, and then connect with customers, which is good for the search user when they have something good to offer the search user. But do you kind of believe in that theory where they're kind of mixing the inventory, if you will, and allowing everyone to they do their best if someone has a relevant ad and they're giving a bid that's within a range of acceptability. If it takes a $5 bid and a quality score of 6 to show at the top, and they have a quality score of 6 or 7 and a bid of $4.50, I don't think they're just going to float forever at the bottom. I think Google gives them a chance to bump up a little if people don't have budgets that spend the full thing above them, giving everybody a chance within the realm of reasonableness. Do you think that's going on?
I I don't think. I
Or do
mean,
you think it's pretty hardcore? Like if you're
I
not bidding enough, you're
I
not going to
think
show.
I think the wishy washiness is more in the algorithm of the bidding, and not, and I would hope it's not in the ad rank system. I think the ad rank system is locked. I think what gives people a chance is when Google pushes for the automated bids, which does what people can't do. A lot of people can't physically just put a $10, $15 bid on a keyword, but at times Google will do that. They'll say, we need to figure out what happens when you show up at the top. So the algorithm will put them at,
Uh,
$15 bid when normally they're getting $2 clicks.
or hey, you as a user can't know this, but this person that matches these 5 audiences and is in this age range and has searched for these things and been on these kind of websites, they actually work perfectly with your individual website,
Yeah.
and they're very rare, but when they're there, we're going to bump you up. So maybe
That's
the truth holds about like bidding and quality score equal ad rank, and ad rank determines who shows. But now there's more capabilities to give more people a chance to get higher ad rank because we can more
because
thinly slice those
yeah.
searches
Yeah,
in an automated way. Yeah,
because of the
that's smart.
the black box of bidding. I think that's where Google makes those hard decisions sometimes that people just can't. They're selling a $5 T-shirt.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's going to bid $15, but sometimes the algorithm will say, "No, we're going to bid that, and we're going to see what it does."
Yeah, it's just infinite the amount of data that they can gather and process,
Yeah,
or it's getting better and better, and it's infinite compared to human being.
yeah.
So that's interesting. So the third North Star here, or the third fundamental truth, Chris, that will never change. This one might be controversial. Lifetime value is your North Star. So lifetime value determines everything. It determines what you can bid. It determines like the keywords you can show up on because you look at the performance of those keywords. It determines how much you can get out of this platform. A lot of people don't even get to the lifetime value point of thinking, which I think is unfortunate. Um, but how do you feel about that one? That if you want an answer to your question, the answer will always be given to you via what's in the lifetime value information, if you're even looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting it right here, but I'm sensing that you're saying that the value of Google Ads is more than just what your cost per conversion is, or
That's what
what.
I'm saying. People should take it further. Like it's not just the leads you get, but it's what percent of those leads close, what percent
Right.
of those leads convert
Yeah.
into actual acquired customers, acquired clients.
Yeah. Okay.
And then what is the true, not the, oh, you sold a moving job or whatever, but the true value. Like, okay, maybe you're going to get some repeat business from them. The real average revenue you get
Mm,
from one of those
okay.
customers, and some kind of multiplier for word of mouth. And if you have that number, then you can backtrack how many leads it costs to get one of those acquired customers, and you can get your cost per acquisition as opposed to cost per lead.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that cost per acquisition, you compare it to the lifetime value, the average lifetime value, and then it just tells you everything. So it tells you what keywords you can bid on, what keywords you can't, how much you can bid on those keywords, how much room you have to bid more, get more aggressive, get more leads overall, get more customers overall, make a smaller return, but
Yeah.
then get more revenue because you run the numbers. So it answers everything if you're actually going the distance and figuring out those numbers, if that makes sense.
I think that is true. I think maybe a simpler truth to boil it down, and this is something that, just happens naturally. If Google Ads is working, then your business will continue to thrive. And if your lifetime value is less than how much you're paying on Google Ads, your business will not thrive, and it will starve, and it will eventually die.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that works itself out. You don't actually have to know lifetime value, which the truth is, many of my clients have no idea. They have no idea.
A lot of service businesses, they say
No.
they don't know, which is unfortunate, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah, and the fact is, as long as their business continues to grow and they're happy with what they're getting, then they'll continue to advertise, because naturally it will continue to feed their business. You just can't have it any other way and continue to spend, because eventually the bucket will run dry. So yes, I definitely believe that's true. It's just, you don't have to know what that lifetime value is. It can be inferred based on the fact that this year was better than last year. That's a broad scope, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, whether you're doing it on hard numbers or you're doing it on feel, that kind of like the lifetime value you're generating from those leads from Google Ads. And of course, the leads would be, you divide the average, like you divide the lifetime value by how many leads it takes to get you one of those lifetime values, how many leads it takes to get you one of those customers.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're doing it on feel or you're doing it on hard numbers, that's always guiding everything. Like, should we run this kind of campaign? Can we bid more? Should we bid more? Should we spend more? If you can figure out that lifetime value, the answers, they're all there for you.
Yeah, it is the golden standard to be at. But the fact is, it's golden because that would imply that many people are not there. It's difficult to get there.
Well, yeah, and that's where a lot of edge comes from, because sometimes people do get there and they realize, wow, these are actually way more valuable leads than we thought in the past. We're going to bid a lot more. They show up higher, going back to something we talked about earlier. They then get more traffic, more market share. Their business thrives, and their competitors lose.
And I'll tell you one thing. Tell me if this isn't true, Jason. Some company knows what the lifetime value is. They know what the true value of a conversion is and how much they close and stuff like that. Is it not true that that company can sense something being wrong, and not just sense it, but actually see it in the numbers, in the metrics, in the graphs, in reports? They can see those things changing seasonally, week to week even, and change and manipulate numbers and change bids, change keywords based on those. So therefore they're much more agile in what they can accomplish, more so than any company who does not track that conversion value.
I like to get there with my clients, and I've been there a lot. And that's why I'm saying it's a North Star. It's as much visibility as you can get from Google Ads, and you're playing a totally different game than other people you're competing with, because the theme I see most often is that the leads are more valuable than are generally recognized.
Yeah.
It makes sense, because you're getting in front of people who are searching for exactly what you offer, who choose to click on an ad as opposed to an organic listing, are open to doing business with you, who contact you. And it's just like they serve it up on a platter. And if you're charging the right amounts as a business, it can be really profitable. Let's talk about another fundamental truth. This one, people have a lot of trouble accepting. But we just talked about visibility. You will never have full visibility into Google Ads and what's going on, even if you're the greatest in the world like us, because of the black box. This is a fundamental truth. It will never change.
Yeah.
Is that true? Do you, as one of the best to ever do this, openly say, no, I don't have full visibility. There's things that are going on. I don't know what's going on in certain areas. You say that. And then do you see people that fight that and don't understand that?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. That is 100% true. And the fact is that is becoming, even though you're calling it a fundamental truth, an absolute truth, it's actually becoming even bigger and more of a truth because the black box has grown.
It's growing.
It's gotten bigger.
That's all we know about the black box. It's black, it's a box, and it's growing.
Bigger. Yep.
Yeah.
There's
and
more
we don't even
that
know
we
if
don't
it's
know about.
A box. Did you ever watch Lost, Chris? Great series.
Yes,
Recommended.
I did.
Okay, you did. Yeah.
I did.
Because we're the same guy. Yeah, we're just code reuse. We're the same guy.
Copy paste.
We are copy paste. Oh, there's different. He likes making trains.
But
I like watching MMA fight. We're not that different. We're pretty
You're a
similar.
copy of me, though. You know when you photocopy a photocopy?
Well, you're in the. I came after you.
I'm the original, so that's what happened to you.
That's fine. You're great. You're a great person to copy from.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a great mock to create myself, my fake self identity from. It's all you. I am Chris Schaefer. I am Chris Schaefer. That's what 90% of our audience is saying right now in their car, in their bed, at the gym, at work. I am Chris Schaefer. I am Chris Schaefer. Let's all say it in unison. I am Chris Schaefer. I am Chris Schaefer.
Okay.
What I was getting at is we both watched Lost, and they had the smoke, the blob. What was it called?
Yeah, the smoke monster.
The smoke monster. They didn't know what it was. They just knew it was black, and it showed up sometimes.
Yeah.
That's all we know about what we're calling the black
box. Do that
box.
clicky sound. You remember that?
They never knew what it was, and apparently we never found out.
Yeah, we never. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with Google Ads, and you have to accept it. There's a black box, black smoke, something. It's getting more intense. It's getting bigger. We have no idea what goes on in there.
Yep. And it's just as scary, but the fact is the black box.
It's scary, but bringing it back to Lost, there's comfort in it, and it's the opposite of scary because you're in this plane, and I was on a plane the other day, so I was thinking about. Every time I get on a plane, I go back to that first episode.
Please,
I'm like, what if I'm in the episode right now? What if this happens?
Would you want to be?
Honestly, I think. I mean. Maybe it's a personality type. Yeah, you always want to be in it.
Yeah.
You always want to see if that happens to you because you're in the plane, you're in that normal life right beforehand, and then they show the scene. It's just these normal people on the plane, and then boom, they don't know what happened to them, but they're on this weird. I got to go back and watch that show.
Yeah, we should.
It's such a good show. Should do a podcast. I'm sure they've already done it. Should we watch it
together and then do a podcast about a rewatch of Lost? That'd be fun.
Yeah. Page search Lost.
Page search Lost. Lost
PSL.
Page search.
That's a good title for the show in 2022. Lost in page search. We should change the name.
We'll just make an announcement in January. Guys, we're changing the show.
We're lost. Black box is too big. But I like the black box because they crash on an island. They don't know where they are. But that black smoke, knowing that something was out there, gave them a sense of purpose, a sense of hope, a sense of wonder. They're not alone in this weird island.
You're stretching.
Something else is going on. That's how we feel as advertisers. The black box is there. The black smoke is there. It's scary to some people, but to me, it's comforting because there's something on the other side of this platform.
Okay. All right.
And one day there's always hope you'll figure it out and it will expose itself. But just like Lost, we'll probably never get there.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was favorite one. That was good.
Do you have people that fight the black box, that don't believe it, that can't accept it and want the answers?
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Anytime I go into an account that's running automated bids and has like 5%, 10%, 1% bid adjustments, like all over the place, and I'm like, what are you doing?
You're not the black box.
Like you have your car on cruise control, but you keep tapping the brake and hitting the gas. You're like,
yeah.
Let it drive.
Or you're changing the radio stations thinking that's going to affect the speed.
Yeah, there you go.
That's literally what it is. You're doing bid adjustments that don't even affect anything. You're just farting into the wind.
Yeah.
It's just nothing's going on. Yeah.
I could change this and that helped.
Yeah. So you have people that can't accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
It's unfortunate. You have to accept it. Now, Chris, I've been digging into local service ads recently, the ads that show
Oh,
up at the
yeah.
top above the regular ads in some cases, some industries. It's really funny because a lot of that documentation on it gives you answers that we're searching for about traditional Google ads.
Really?
And yeah. So listen to this. So
Oh
if you
boy.
if you look about ad rankings and
Okay.
local services help, additionally, ad rankings optimizes for the overall health and diversity of the local service ads ecosystem and provides sufficient opportunity for all providers. What did we talk about at the beginning of the show about everyone getting a crack at the apple?
Yeah.
They say they try to do that when possible with local service ads. They also say about local service ads, say some black and white right here, print. We're always running experiments to try and provide the best experience for users.
Okay.
That's what a lot of
That
people, that's what I've been telling people for a lot about why are our ads not showing number one today? Why are we not
yeah.
showing on this search? Well, it could be this and this and that, but you know what? It could also be that Google is always running experiments. The black box is always running experiments.
Yeah.
Maybe the black box is out of control and people don't even know what experiments are being run anymore or can control it because of AI, but experiments are being run. That's something I've had to say without proof.
Yeah.
We still don't have proof within Google Ads, even though I know what's going on, but local service ads, they come right out and tell you they're running experiments all the time.
Yeah. I feel like there could be a tagline that says Google Ads 2022. Today's an experiment.
Yeah. So we'll take one more and then we'll take a break. But this one, I don't see how this will ever change. I don't see how anyone can argue this, but it's basic algebra. It's something that if you can understand this, you become so much better at the platform. Cost per click,
Okay.
conversion rate, and cost per conversion are forever linked. There's an algebraic formula to them. And if you want to affect one of the three, you have to affect either one or two of the other two. So your cost per conversion is tied to your cost per click and conversion rate. If
Right.
your conversion rate goes up, cost per conversion goes down. If your cost per click goes up, cost per conversion goes up. If your cost per click goes down, cost per conversion goes down.
Yep.
If your conversion rate goes down, cost per conversion goes higher.
Yeah.
So it's like if you want to affect your cost per conversion, which we all do, we all want to drop 10. We all want to feel a little more energy in the afternoon, and we all want to make our cost per conversion a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Universal.
if you don't run ads on Google, it's universal to the human condition. You have two options. You can play around with your cost per click. You can play around with your conversion rate. They're forever tied. It's a formula. That's what I'm trying to convey here, Chris.
Yeah.
It's a formula that's mathematical. Can this be accepted?
Absolutely. Absolutely agree.
Thank you.
And I especially agree with what you're talking about is that people that realize this will be better at Google Ads. I can't tell you how many times I jump into a consulting session and someone's like, yeah, we need about $250 cost per conversion, but we're getting about $500, $600 cost per conversion. And I'm like, okay, and I think, well, maybe it's something to do with the keywords. Maybe we can do this, do that. Then, I see, okay, really high cost per conversion. I scroll over and I look at their search impression share loss due to rank, and it's like 10%. I'm like, you guys are overbidding. I mean, that's it. All we have to do is pull down the bids, and assuming your conversion rate stays the same, you should see a drop in the cost per conversion because that's how math works. It's not even algebra. I mean, it's like just basic math. When this number drops, assuming the conversion rate stays the same, you're going to get a lower cost per conversion. That's it. So yeah, absolutely agree.
And then you have to deal with the realms of reality, where if you drop that bid, that cost per click too much, volume will drop.
Yep.
So then you have the
There is a
other
line.
the other lever that you can pull, the conversion rate, and improving that through ad copy, through landing page, through the kinds of searches you're showing up on. But those are the only two things you can do. The cost per click, the conversion rate. There's a lot of different things you can do to try to affect those two things, but those two things are the two things that work together to produce the cost per conversion. And if you understand that, it makes Google Ads a lot more simple. It's not easy because then you have to figure out how to affect those two things, but it makes it simple because you know where to focus.
Yeah. Beautiful.
On this break, I'm going to focus on you, Chris. I'm going to say I am Chris Schaefer over and over. Even if
Okay.
you can't hear me saying it, I'm saying it in my head forever from this point on. And many people in this universe are now. So you have that energy flowing towards you, Chris Schaefer.
Okay.
But we'll take a dance break. We will all become Chris Schaefer, and we'll be back right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that you have the opportunity to take advantage of a amazing offer from optio.com/PSP. There's a little special window that pops up when you go to that URL. Open chat window, and then you tell them, hey, I'm here from the Paid Search Podcast. Chris told me about this amazing tool, and I frankly, I trust Chris. I'm going to try it. I've been listening to him for years. I'm going to try it. He says to try it, so I'm going to try it. You're going to like it, okay? Talk to those people. Tell them that I want to try it. Give me 2 months for free. They'll do it. They're contractually obligated. We have put them in that position. Take advantage of it. Optio.com/PSP.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So let's talk about another one. This one's pretty simple, but it is very true. You can't control how often you see your ad, and that's become stronger over time. It's simple, but it's something a lot of advertisers struggle with.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that, except like in the super extreme situation where there's infinite budget available, and like where you could, you're bidding on super extreme targeted keywords, exact match, and you essentially have endless budget, and you can pretty much guarantee that you'd be showing up in first position, but honestly that almost never happens. And
Are you hardcore?
I've never run a hardcore campaign like
I'm
that.
hardcore.
I know you are.
I've done that a lot, honestly.
Yeah. I've seen it, and frankly, it terrifies me.
Well, what I'll tell you is, it's still, you don't see your ad every time.
Still,
Number one, yeah,
I thought
still.
that there would be a point. Okay, okay. Well, then I believe you.
No,
believe
unlimited
you.
budgets and bidding the most you can possibly humanly bid. There will still be
$999.99, right?
You can bid 1,000.
You can bid up straight 1,000.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, guys, inflation, growth, as an Alphabet shareholder, let's take it up higher. I mean, I got people that want to take it higher, so
yeah,
let's go. Yeah, let's go. 2,000.
People got to get leads.
We got to eat out here. You still won't see your ad at all sometimes.
Wow.
Now, does that come back to the IP, and they're like, we don't see you clicking on the ad. We don't serve ads to people that don't click. I don't know.
That's it.
Is it that they give everyone a bite at the apple? Is it that sometimes for some searches with some users that are in some audiences, you don't have a good ad rank. You don't have a good quality score on that search. And someone has a extremely higher quality score because, like we talked about earlier, that very rare match that the system can match, where like someone falls into 7 audience buckets and it's like, oh, that's a perfect click. That's a 10 out of 10 for this other advertiser. They're bidding 50% less than you, but they're going to show higher on this one search. It still happens, and you won't show up number one all the time. But the thing is, there's a difference between what's reality, which is the columns you see in your account, absolute top percentage and top percentage, and then what you see optically in your own search results with your own browser. And they're very different. So my thing is always just, you got to let that go. Why don't you see your ad? I don't know. Could be a million reasons. It's a black box, but look at the data inside the account, and that's where it'll guide you.
I completely agree. Okay, you won me over. I thought that maybe there's a situation, but okay, I believe you.
Chris, you'll like this one. Search terms matter, and this is a fundamental truth about Google Ads that will never change. Searches matter. The searches you show up on matter.
Okay. That one feels like a gimme. That feels like a layup. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't
Well,
see how.
it's so easy to Chris. I've been someone who's strayed from that over the last 6 years.
Oh,
I've had in the last 12
oh,
months.
shame on you.
Well, I told you it's been a long
You've been
year.
running. You've been yeah. It's 2027 for you, but you're still in 2022.
I so I don't talk about. You shouldn't talk about alien encounters, in public and
Right,
being
because
abducted.
people, yeah. Uh-huh.
But I got abducted, I think, by the Performance Max aliens, and they
I'm
kind
so
of
glad you're back.
yeah. It took me a couple months to get back
Yeah.
from that, but if you saw the experience I saw and went through what I went through on the UFO with the Performance Max, you'd be doing a lot of Performance Max for
That's
the next
so
60
funny.
days too.
I I mean, I've just been kind of ignoring, like the past couple months of you just ranting and raving about Performance Max, and I was kind of like, oh well, you do you.
No, I'm still there, and it's working out really, really well in a lot of accounts.
Okay.
It's just my point is the other side of Google Ads, the search, it still
It
matters.
still matters.
It still
Okay, I
matters,
hear you.
and the idea of showing up on this exact perfect search, and yeah, people are going to do looser searches, and Google knows more about the user over time. That's going to happen, but if you have a storage facility in Fort Worth and someone searches self storage Fort Worth, you can't get away from the fact that that's a good place to show from here to the end of time. Like you want to be there. So the
Yeah.
search terms matter, and we can never forget that, even if we're abducted by a PMAX UFO.
Oh, you said it. You said
I
PMAX.
love that I told you I got abducted by aliens,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that draws you out is that I said PMAX instead of Performance Max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what really bugs me the most. Some things you just don't shorten things some way.
Another fundamental truth: will this ever change? It seems like it should change because it seems so limiting. But let me know if you think this will ever change. The only chance you have to communicate with the search user is your ad copy.
Absolutely.
You can do stuff once they're on your site and give them different messages and show them why they should convert and fill out a form or call. But initially, the only chance you have with them
Yeah.
is that ad copy. Like, doesn't that seem limiting and a little sad? But at the same time, will that ever change? I guess you could argue like now you have image assets and stuff
Images.
like that, but it's still that block on Google Ads. That's all you got. And so
Well,
you
I mean,
you better have good ad copy and good assets.
you could make the argument that call ads effectively have no ad copy. It's just a giant phone number in the face.
But they do have copy with them. Like
Yeah,
they do have descriptions.
That's a stretch to call it ad copy. I mean, it's so
You know how we're always saying people
little.
don't read ads that often and they can't
Mhm.
read and people just click.
Yeah, click.
What if we're just the losers out there that don't know how to read at age 40 and age 30 34? What if we don't know how to read and everyone else does, and we're people just picture us on our phones going click click. They read a little bit of the call only.
Yeah.
But even that's all you have. I mean, that's all you have.
Yeah.
Will that ever change?
Jason, at this point, I can't say for sure. Maybe at some point you pick your keywords and it just
And you pick your
automatically-
person.
Yeah. You pick your person.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
But I guess my point is, Chris, the importance of ad copy, the importance
Definitely.
of taking that seriously, making
It's
sure that works, taking the time to add the images and all that kind of
It's
stuff.
the only communication that you have that's outgoing before they click. It's the only opportunity you have to show them
Catch their attention.
this is what you're looking for. Click here. Or on the opposite side, click here if you're interested in a product that starts at $300. You're looking for shoes? We have amazing shoes. They start at $300. Oh, you don't want to pay $300 for shoes? Okay, don't click here. So it's your opportunity to both qualify and disqualify your traffic.
It's your only opportunity.
Yeah.
In terms of communicating to the search user. So
That's
important.
it. Before you pay, you can pay and then tell them, hey, these shoes are $300. And then you're in trouble.
Right. So let's talk about the final truth that will never change with Google Ads. And that is
the name, right?
No, that's not a fundamental truth
Yeah,
that
'cause
will
that's
never
already-
change because
that's
it's already
already changed.
changed. Yeah. That's changed.
That's a joke. That's a
Big
joke.
change.
Yeah.
Big change. Good change. AdWords sounds so old. So what is that? Is that Google? We don't know if that's Google.
Yeah.
AdWords. How do you spell it? Is it 2 words? Is it 1 word? Boom.
Yeah.
Google Ads.
Yeah. I agree.
Get your ads on Google.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The answer is always, let's run an experiment.
Oh,
Because that's what you sound like when you say, Chris.
that's what.
But that's honestly the only answer
That is
that should ever be given. It's the
Yep.
only valid answer to everything.
I am Chris Schaefer.
I am Chris Schaefer. Let's run an experiment. I am
That's
Chris
it.
Schaefer. Let's run an experiment.
The answer to should we try this is yes. You should try that. You should test it. You should run an experiment. You should try it because you never know.
Should we change the pricing in our ads? Let's run an experiment. Should we change the landing page? We take people. Let's run an experiment. Should we go from manual to target CPA bidding? Let's run an experiment.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I give one piece of advice out there to everyone, Chris?
That's what
to
you're
all
here
the
for.
to all the
Jason,
Chris Schaefers.
you're supposed to. That's what you're here for. Absolutely.
Give lots of credit to the statistically significant portion of the experiments where they tell you if they have enough statistically significant data, or if you have enough data to make it statistically significant to implement the experiment or to make that change fully or not. Because I've been burned by not listening to that.
That might be a significantly long experiment then.
Well, the keyword is it needs to be a significant amount of data to make the statistic significant, because otherwise, even if you don't think you're flying blind, you're flying blind. Because I've been in spots where we change the landing page, we run an experiment, the data looks so convincing. Like it's a 50-50 split, but the conversion rate went from like 3% to 7.5%. The conversions went from like 10 conversions over that period to like 21. And you're like, yeah, what are we waiting for? We have a gut feel that the new landing page is better. That's why we're trying the experiment. The data looks pretty. We made the change, Chris. And then like a month later, the results were worse than before because it wasn't a statistically significant amount of data to make the change. And even though it looked pretty in the short term, it didn't actually tell us anything.
Wow.
And so I like sticking to that data, or at least knowing what you're getting into if you don't listen to what the experiment is telling you. At least if you know what you're getting into.
Okay. Good. Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. Jason, you have dispensed some phenomenal truths. I believe and agree with all of them. Thank you so much. Excellent list. And what was our total? How many were there?
8.
Total? 8 fundamental
Eight fundamental truths. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Put them on your walls. Write them above your head posts. And Jason, if they want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
RothmanPPC.com. What about you, Chris?
I am at the one and only ChrisSchaefer.com. There's a link for both of us in the description.